Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be diving into entrepreneurship education, but, with a bit of a twist.
Yeah,
We're going to be talking about extreme pedagogy. Have you heard of this?
I have.
It's pretty wild.
It is.
So, it's all about how to get universities and employers on the same page.
Yes.
So we're finally producing grads that are, actually ready for the 21st century.
Exactly.
It's like entrepreneurship education 2.0.
I like that.
Okay, so the jumping off point for this deep dive is an academic article,
Okay.
and it's called, wait for it, Using Extreme Pedagogy to Enhance Entrepreneurship Education.
Straightforward.
Yeah, they get right to the point.
They do.
Okay, so I think it'd be good to start off by talking about, the problem that this article is trying to solve.
Well, I think we all know the problem.
Yeah, totally.
We've all heard employers complain that, new grads just don't have the skills they need.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the real-world skills.
Right, exactly. So, this article kind of flips the script. It's
Yeah.
saying, maybe it's not just the students or the curriculum that are the problem. Maybe it's this lack of ownership. Everybody needs to feel responsible.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Right. We need the universities, the instructors, the students, and even future employers to all feel like they own this problem.
So it's not just about pointing fingers.
Right.
It's about everybody sort of rolling up their sleeves and saying, okay, I'm responsible for fixing this.
Exactly.
But how does that actually work? I mean, how do you get everyone to kind of buy into this idea of shared responsibility?
Right.
Where do we even start?
Well, think about it. Have you ever been part of a project where, nobody really felt responsible?
Oh, yeah.
It probably didn't end very well.
Probably not.
Right.
No.
Now imagine if everyone involved,
Right.
from the universities, the instructors, the students, like we said, and even potential employers,
Yep.
they all feel responsible for making sure that grads have the skills they need to be entrepreneurs.
So it's they're all on the same team, working towards this common goal.
Common goal, yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Very powerful.
but how do we actually get people to buy into that?
Well, that's where this idea of psychological ownership comes in.
Okay.
Basically, the theory is that when people feel a sense of ownership over something,
Yeah.
they're way more likely to invest time and energy in it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. It's like the difference between, being assigned some random task versus choosing to take on a challenge that you're actually passionate about.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead of the students just passively absorbing information, they're actually shaping their own education.
Right. They're in the driver's seat.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it gets even more interesting when you bring in the concept of extreme ownership.
Wait, hold on. Extreme ownership.
Yep.
What is that?
So this is actually a philosophy that comes from Navy SEALs.
Okay, Navy SEALs. How does that connect to business schools?
Well, in the SEALs,
Okay.
it's all about this team first, mission first mentality.
Okay.
Everyone is responsible for successes and failures.
Uh-huh.
They know their lives depend on each other, so there's just no room for blaming other people.
Okay. That makes sense in a life or death situation.
Right.
But how does that translate to a classroom? I mean, come on.
Okay, so imagine taking that same intensity,
Yeah.
that sense of ownership, and applying it to education.
Right.
Universities aren't just, ivory towers anymore.
Uh-huh.
They're actively engaged with the real world.
Okay.
They need to understand the skills that employers actually need.
So we're talking problem solving under
Mhm.
pressure, adaptability, those kinds of things.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And instructors, they become more like facilitators
Okay.
or mentors, even coaches,
Interesting.
working directly with employers to design a curriculum that actually makes sense.
So it's less about theory and more about
Sure.
practical skills
Exactly.
that students can use day one on the job.
Yeah, so no more outdated textbooks.
Right.
No more irrelevant case studies.
Students are actually getting experience that matters.
Yeah, and instead of just learning about entrepreneurship, they're actually doing it.
Ooh, I like that.
This article calls it a doing to become approach.
Doing to become.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think real-world projects,
Uh-huh.
collaborating with businesses,
Yeah.
even launching their own ventures while they're still in school.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It's like a crash course in entrepreneurship, all while getting a degree.
Exactly.
That's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about the universities, we've talked about the instructors, we've talked about the students. But what about the employers themselves? What's their role in all of this?
Well, they're not just sitting on the sidelines.
Okay.
They're active participants.
Got it.
providing feedback, mentoring students, maybe even sponsoring projects, or providing some funding.
So it sounds like it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
Right.
Students get the skills, instructors get the support, employers get, highly skilled grads.
Exactly. Everybody wins.
But is this just a theoretical concept? Are there actually, like, real-world examples of extreme pedagogy in action?
Well, the article highlights a workshop with some entrepreneurial executives.
Okay.
People from all sorts of industries. And what's really interesting is that these executives, the ones who are hiring grads, they're frustrated.
Frustrated. Why?
A lot of them said that, like recent grads.
Okay.
They just don't get it.
Don't get what?
They lack this basic understanding of what it means to be an entrepreneur. They're full of theory, but they struggle with real-world stuff, like creative problem solving, adaptability, dealing with uncertainty.
So they're book smart,
Yeah.
but not necessarily street smart.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Interesting.
And these executives, they also pointed out that universities, they seem disconnected from what's actually happening in the business world.
Oh, like they're kind of in a bubble.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of surprising because, you'd think they'd want to make sure that their grads are actually ready for the workforce.
Right.
So these executives, they're frustrated, but what was their reaction to this idea of extreme pedagogy?
Okay, well, this is where it gets really exciting.
Okay.
They loved it.
They did.
They were so enthusiastic about it. They saw it as a way to finally solve this problem.
So the people on the front lines, the ones actually hiring graduates, building businesses, they think this could actually work.
They do, and that's a pretty powerful endorsement.
I'd say so.
Yeah, it definitely seems like extreme pedagogy could be a total game changer.
Okay, so we've talked about the problem. We've talked about this idea of extreme pedagogy, this potential solution.
Yeah.
But let's break down the benefits for each stakeholder, like really dive into that a little bit.
Okay, sounds good.
Where should we start?
Well, I think it makes sense to start with the universities because for them, embracing extreme pedagogy could really transform how they operate. It could make them more relevant, more attractive to students.
Right.
And it could even open up more funding opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, universities, they need to adapt to stay competitive.
Right.
Especially with all these other options popping up.
Yeah.
Like online courses, boot camps.
Exactly.
They're offering those in-demand skills so much faster.
Right. So universities need a way to stand out.
Yeah.
And extreme pedagogy could be that way.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're serious about getting you ready for the real world.
Exactly. It shows they're not just focused on theory, but on actually preparing grads for the workforce.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's universities. What about the instructors?
Well, for them, it's not just about more work.
Okay.
It's about getting the support they need.
Support to do what?
To teach those relevant skills.
Got it.
To design a curriculum that actually works.
So instead of being stuck with outdated material, they're actually empowered to create a more engaging experience.
Exactly. It's about moving away from that lone wolf teaching style and embracing collaboration, shared ownership.
Okay, so the instructors get to work with employers, get feedback, make a real difference.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
It is. And then for the students,
the students,
it's a total game changer.
How so?
Well, instead of just passively listening, they're actually developing skills, applying what they learn.
So they're building experience, not just a GPA.
Right. It's about fostering that entrepreneurial mindset, encouraging them to take risks, to learn from mistakes.
But all within a supportive environment, right?
Of course.
Okay, so it's not just about getting a job.
Right.
It's about developing those skills.
Yeah, like adaptability and resilience.
Those things you need to actually succeed.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
And finally, for the employer.
Yeah, the employers.
They finally get grads who are actually ready to contribute.
No more of that skills gap.
Well, hopefully a lot less.
Right.
Because now they have grads who can hit the ground running.
Okay, so we've gone through all the stakeholders.
We have.
And it really does sound like a win-win situation.
It does, but there's a catch. For all of this to work, employers need to step up.
What do you mean?
It's not enough to just complain about grads not being ready.
Right.
They need to be part of the solution.
Okay, so what does that look like?
It means giving input on the curriculum.
Okay.
Offering mentorship. Maybe even sponsoring projects.
So really investing in the education of future talent.
Exactly. It's a partnership.
A symbiotic relationship, right?
Yeah, where everybody benefits.
Okay, I like that.
And it's not just universities and employers.
Oh, okay.
It could be anyone.
What do you mean?
Think small businesses, startups, even individual entrepreneurs.
Got it.
Sharing their experiences, their knowledge.
Wow, so it's really about building a community.
Exactly. That's what makes extreme pedagogy so powerful.
Okay.
It's adaptable. It can be tailored to different needs.
So different stakeholders, they
Yeah.
come together, they share their knowledge, and they create these educational programs that are actually useful.
Right. And that's what's so exciting about this concept.
Okay.
It's not just theory, it's a call to action.
A call to action to do what?
To rethink how we approach education.
Okay, so it's about breaking down those traditional boundaries.
Yes.
Embracing collaboration, empowering everyone.
Yeah. And the article actually compares this shift
To what?
to the rise of those alternative education providers.
Oh, like the online courses and boot camps.
Exactly.
But how are they connected? I don't really see the link.
Well, those alternative providers,
Yeah.
they've become popular because they're offering practical skills at a faster pace.
Yeah, and often at a lower cost.
Right.
So it's about being more agile,
Exactly.
more responsive to the market.
Yeah.
But how can traditional institutions compete with that? I mean, they're so much slower.
Well, that's where extreme pedagogy comes in.
Okay.
It's a way for universities to show that they're evolving too,
Got it.
that they're listening to what employers need.
So they're not just giving you a degree, they're giving you real-world experience.
Right. Connections, the whole package.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's about being proactive,
Yeah.
anticipating those future needs.
And equipping students with the skills to thrive.
Exactly.
But do we have any real-world examples of this in action?
Well, it is a pretty new concept,
Yeah.
but there are some promising examples starting to pop up.
Like what?
I recently read a case study about a university
Okay.
that partnered with a startup incubator.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, so the students in this program,
Uh-huh.
they spent a whole semester working with entrepreneurs.
Wow, so they're getting that real-world experience before they even graduate.
Exactly. Developing business ideas,
Yeah,
pitching to investors, even launching their own companies.
that's incredible. Did it actually work?
It did. They saw amazing results.
Clearly.
Yeah, way more grads from this program were launching successful businesses
Compared to.
compared to those who went through more traditional programs.
Wow, that's a testament to the power of this approach.
It really is.
So it's not just theory, it's actually producing tangible outcomes.
And I think this is just the beginning.
You do.
I think this concept has the potential to transform how we prepare students
Okay.
for the challenges and the opportunities of the 21st century.
It's about moving beyond the classroom,
Yeah.
creating a learning environment that's dynamic
Engaging.
and ultimately more effective. You know, it seems like these core principles of extreme pedagogy,
Yeah.
collaboration, real-world relevance, that sense of ownership, it feels like we could apply those to way more than just entrepreneurship education.
Oh, absolutely. What's really exciting about this concept
Yeah.
is that it totally challenges how we think about power dynamics in education.
Right. It's not just professors,
Yeah.
lecturing at students.
Yeah.
It's about creating this much more collaborative environment.
A two-way street
Yeah.
instead of a one-way street.
Where everyone has something to contribute.
Right. Students, instructors, universities, employers.
Everyone has a role to play.
Exactly.
And think about how that impacts the students.
Yeah. They're not just passively absorbing information anymore.
Right. They're actually involved.
They're engaged. They're invested.
And the instructors.
Yeah.
I mean, they have access to all this expertise now.
It's incredible. They can make their teaching so much more dynamic.
More connected to what's happening in the real world.
Right. And the universities benefit too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, their reputation gets better.
Uh-huh.
They attract better students.
They get more funding.
Exactly.
Everybody wins.
They do. And you know what else strikes me about this?
Right.
The potential for making education more accessible,
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
more inclusive.
For everyone.
Right, because when we shift away from that traditional lecture-based model
Yeah.
and embrace hands-on learning,
Right.
we can cater to so many more learning styles.
Right, because not everyone thrives in that traditional classroom setting.
Exactly. Some people need to actually do things
To experiment.
to get their hands dirty.
Yeah, to learn by doing.
And by incorporating those real-world projects,
Uh-huh.
we can make education more relevant.
For those students who might not connect with just theory.
Right. It's about meeting them where they are.
And giving them the tools to learn in a way that works for them.
Exactly.
And it all comes back to that sense of ownership.
It does.
When learners feel like they own their education,
Yeah.
they're so much more invested in their success.
And that ownership goes beyond just the individual.
Right.
When you have employers,
Yeah.
mentors,
Right.
other stakeholders. They're showing that they're committed to the success of these future generations.
It's like this ripple effect
It is.
throughout the whole community.
Yeah. A shared responsibility for education.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
It is. And ultimately,
Yeah.
I think this approach has the potential to make education more equitable,
More inclusive.
where everyone, no matter who they are or how they learn,
Yeah.
has the opportunity to succeed.
That's amazing.
It is. But of course,
Yeah.
like any big change, there are going to be challenges.
Definitely.
Implementing this is going to take a lot of work.
It's going to take a willingness to embrace change,
Experiment.
to learn from mistakes.
To adapt.
Yeah, it's not about finding the perfect solution right away.
Right. It's about constantly iterating, evolving.
Meeting those needs as they come up.
Exactly. And that's where those principles of extreme ownership come back in.
It's a call to action for everyone.
It is.
To step up, take responsibility, work together.
Be bold, be creative, never stop learning.
I'd love that.
We need to keep exploring these ideas, experimenting, finding what works.
Working together to build that future.
Exactly.
Wow, this deep dive into extreme pedagogy has been incredible.
It has.
It's given us so much to think about.
It really has.
So listeners, what are your takeaways? What resonated with you? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
And remember, this is just the beginning.
Yeah, the future of education, it's collaborative, it's dynamic, and it's full of possibilities.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deep.
Until next time, stay curious,